Kansas City in December is a city that breathes football, a place where the air grows electric and the crowd's energy pulses through Arrowhead Stadium like a living organism. In the heart of all this, Travis Kelce, the Chiefs' legendary tight end, emerged from the tunnel after a long bye week, his eyes fixed and jaw set, determined to erase the sting of a deflating loss at the hands of the Buffalo Bills. That defeat had not only snapped a promising 3-game winning streak, but had also left Kelce with a stat line he'd rather forget. Just 4 catches for 66 yards, his fewest since a sleepy September afternoon against the Giants. For a player of Kelce's caliber, whose game hinges on pride and production, the numbers were more than disappointing. They were fuel for a comeback. Across the field, the Denver Broncos waited. Division rivals, playoff implications, and most importantly, a defense that had grown into one of the league's most feared, now led by a rookie quarterback eager to prove he could handle the heat of Arrowhead. From the opening kickoff, the stadium vibrated with anticipation. Chiefs fans, still licking their wounds, roared with hope. Broncos backers, sprinkled throughout the sea of red, clung to cautious optimism. It was more than a game. It was a battle for control of the AFC West and for the narrative of the season itself. The first quarter unfolded with the kind of intensity that only a rivalry can produce. Hard hits, near misses, and every yard fought for like it was the last. The Broncos' defense swarmed, surging with energy, stymieing Mahomes' attempts to break free. But if the Broncos were the immovable object, Kelce was determined to be the unstoppable force. Late in the second quarter, the tension reached a boiling point. Mahomes, under duress, scrambled and found Kelce across the middle for a crucial 10-yard gain. The play was routine by NFL standards, but what happened next was anything but. As Kelce rose, Broncos cornerback Jaquan McMillian, normally composed, rarely penalized, barreled into Kelce's chest, knocking the wind out of him and lighting a fire that would burn for the rest of the contest. In a flash, Kelce was on his feet, helmet to helmet with McMillian, words flying, eyes blazing. Teammates rushed in, coaches shouted from the sidelines, but for a moment, time seemed to stop. The stadium, caught between gasps and shouts, watched as 2 men refused to back down. No flags were thrown. The officials let the moment linger, a tacit acknowledgement that sometimes football is as much about heart as it is about rules. Still, everyone knew the NFL's eyes would be watching, that fines might follow, that reputations could be remade in a single moment. For Kelce, the confrontation was nothing new. His career is a litany of passion and penalties, his fines tallying up to a small fortune over the years. But for McMillian, this was uncharted territory. Since joining the Broncos, he'd avoided the league's wrath, flying under the radar as a reliable but unspectacular piece of a resurgent defense. That changed in an instant, and as the cameras found his face, it was clear this game meant everything. The rest of the first half played out like a prize fight. Every snap brought new collisions. Every whistle seemed to echo with the memory of that earlier clash. In the Chiefs' huddle, Kelce's voice rang out, urging his teammates to channel their frustration into focus, to meet violence with precision. On the Broncos sideline, McMillian's teammates rallied behind him, their own resolve hardening. The halftime whistle came as a relief and a warning. The real battle was just beginning. The third quarter was a masterclass in controlled chaos. Mahomes, sensing the urgency, began to lean on Kelce more and more, threading passes through impossibly tight windows. The Denver secondary responded, doubling Kelce, roughing him up at the line, daring the referees to intervene. Every catch became an event, every tackle a referendum on pride. Even when Kelce was swarmed, he fought for every inch, dragging defenders and igniting the crowd. The earlier skirmish with McMillian lingered, replayed on the Jumbotron, dissected by commentators, debated by fans. Would the NFL step in? Would the next hit spark another brawl? In Arrowhead, those questions hung in the air like smoke. As the final quarter began, the stakes had never been higher. Both teams knew that a single mistake could spell disaster, that every possession could tip the balance of the season. For Kelce, the game became a proving ground, not just for his physical prowess, but for his leadership. He blocked with abandon, ran crisp routes, offered encouragement, and, when necessary, tough love. The Chiefs, drawing from his energy, found a new gear. Their offense, battered but unbowed, began to find cracks in the Denver defense. Meanwhile, McMillian and the Broncos refused to yield. Their rookie quarterback, once wide-eyed, now cool and composed, kept the chains moving. The defense, inspired by McMillian's stand, played with a chip on its shoulder, landing big hits, talking smack, daring the Chiefs to respond. The tension was palpable, the outcome uncertain. With 2 minutes left, the Chiefs trailed by 4. Mahomes, as he's done so many times before, led his team onto the field, the crowd on its feet, the din almost unbearable. First down, Kelce over the middle, stretching for a critical gain. Second down, an incomplete pass, the Broncos celebrating as if they'd won the Super Bowl. Third down, Mahomes, pressured, finds Kelce again, this time with McMillian draped all over him. The catch stands. The drive continues. The legend grows. In the final seconds, every eye in the stadium fixed on Kelce and McMillian. Would the Chiefs complete the comeback? Would the Broncos hold? The answer was almost secondary to the spectacle itself. When the final whistle blew, exhausted players staggered off the field, their jerseys stained, their bodies battered. The game was over, but the story had just begun. In the locker rooms, reporters clamored for comment. Would Kelce be fined? Would McMillian face discipline? Or would the league recognize that, sometimes, the spirit of competition trumps the letter of the law? For Kelce, it was another chapter in a storied career, proof that greatness is forged in adversity. For McMillian, it was a coming-of-age moment, a night when he stood toe-to-toe with one of the game's greats and refused to blink. The Chiefs, still in the thick of the playoff hunt, knew they would need every ounce of Kelce's fire in the weeks ahead. The Broncos, riding high atop the division, understood that their defense had sent a message, not just to the Chiefs, but to the entire league. As the headlines swirled and the analysts debated, one thing was clear: this was more than a game. It was a glimpse into what makes football irresistible. The raw emotion, the grudges, the moments when grown men, under the brightest lights, reveal the depths of their will. And somewhere, amid the bruises and the bravado, the seeds of the next great chapter had been sown. Would Kelce and the Chiefs rebound, riding their veterans' passion to another Super Bowl run? Would McMillian's Broncos use this game as a springboard to their own unexpected glory? Only time would tell, but for one night in Kansas City, the question wasn't who won or lost. It was who was willing to stand tall when everything was on the line. And that, more than any stat or highlight, is the heart of the game.